guys.
Hey guys. Oh my gosh. We're here. We're doing it.
This is so strange.
This
I
is so
haven't
weird.
recorded like a podcast in probably almost a year.
It's been almost a year. I think our last podcast that we did for sibling sessions was in June of last year.
Yeah, because I remember
We hit our year mark.
Yes.
And then we were like really faded out after that.
So maybe we should just start off by saying why sibling sessions.
Well, first of all, welcome.
Ended.
Welcome. This is the So True podcast. I'm Hannah.
This is Claire.
We're sisters. If you are not family, friends, if you don't know who we are, we did a podcast for about a year. We started in 2021. We did a podcast called Sibling Sessions, and we did it with our older brother, Paul. And we were really pretty strong. I feel like for about 9 months, we were like consistently putting out an episode a week, even sometimes 2 episodes a week. And then we hit like April, May of last year. And we kind of like really started like slowing down.
I thought it was after we celebrated our 1-year anniversary on Sibling Sessions.
I feel like we slowed down a lot before then. Like we were like really struggling. It was like the month of May where we went like a couple of weeks where we didn't put out an episode, and then we're like, we need to get back on it. And then we put out an episode, and then it was like we put out one more episode, and it was like in June. Like we hit our like year, and then it was like nothing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, we need to explain that.
Yeah. So basically, Sibling Sessions obviously was the 3 of us. We were all siblings. And I think it was really good for the time. But I know that in that time period, we all kind of were starting to move into a new transition with our jobs. I started a new job. I think Paul was trying to focus on, schooling and figuring out what he wanted to do. I know you had just come out of teaching and were trying to figure out the nail technician thing.
I went through like the biggest transition of my life so far. I taught 2nd grade for 3 years, and then in April of last year I decided that I wasn't going to come back for the following school year, and that I wanted to do this nail technician apprenticeship with my friend Taylor Hansen, who had been doing my nails for a couple of years at that point. I just was tired. I was done teaching. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I decided to take the leap. I also went through like a really bad breakup at the time that like kind of rocked my world a little bit. And I was going through a really hard time, and like I feel like I can say this, like I kind of was like the spearhead of that podcast.
You were the one who corralled everyone.
Yes.
And figured out when we were going to record. You were like the scheduler.
Yes. And so like with my own crap going on, and then trying to like corral everyone, and like no shade on our brother Paul, he's the best. We love him. It wasn't his thing. He didn't want to do it. So like kind of trying to force somebody to do something that they really don't want to do is a lot.
Yeah.
Energetically. And I was like, I don't have anything extra to give. I was so done, like just in so many ways. So, and then Paul and Claire were also going through a lot of transitions at the time as well.
I had just graduated. I was kind of trying to figure out if I wanted to go back to school or if I just kind of wanted to take a gap year and work.
Yeah.
I'd gotten a new job. And so kind of everything, the podcast had to take the back seat, but I think I can speak for both me and Hannah, is we still really wanted to do podcasting. And we were trying to figure out, we're like, well, should we just like go back on the Sibling Sessions podcast and just it be me and you? But then that felt wrong, especially with like the Sibling Sessions cover art showing 3 people and then just Paul not being there. And so we were like, why don't we just create a brand new podcast? It's me and you. We'll put more research into it. We'll really make it something new and fresh.
Yeah, and 2 people who are really excited about it and like really pumped to do it. And it's just, again, it just wasn't Paul's thing. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you guys pick up the podcast? And it's like, well, if you have this one thing going, and like the one person that makes up the podcast and really makes it what it is doesn't want to do it, and it just isn't their passion, isn't what they want to do, it's really hard. So you do need like I think with anything, 2 or 3 or however many people that are involved, they all need to be like excited to pursue it.
Everyone's got to be giving 100%.
Yes, and that builds a lot of resentment too, where you're like, I'm doing all of this and nobody wants to do this, and it's you know. So I think overall it's better. But yeah, I was kind of just like, let's leave sibling sessions in the past. That's that project. That was super fun for the time.
Yeah.
And now we're starting this new thing. So True.
Yeah.
So with So True, basically a lot of this podcast is going to be just like, it's going to be a lot of fun episodes, a lot of laughs, but a lot of like true stories. We're going to have a lot of people coming on, interview episodes,
deep dives as well.
Yep. It's going to be really a lot of fun. So True kind of was like almost an inside joke between like Claire and me, where it kind of became like a thing where instead of being like, oh, same, it'd be like, oh yeah, that's so true, to like something the other person would say. And so we kind of were like, I really like So True, like as a podcast name, because I think you can do so much with that. It can apply to so many areas, you know, true stories, interviews, truths of life, deep dives. So anyway, So True just kind of was born, and here we are.
Right. Because like, I feel like, you know, you could say, oh, I just love doing laundry because of this and this. And then the other person would be like, so true.
Oh, that's so true.
It's like so stupid. That was kind of the joke, is saying so true to things that aren't like actually that like,
that deep.
That deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, here we are. Welcome again. We're super excited. And this week we're going to be talking about, we recently went on a trip to Scotland. So Claire and I are going to be giving a rundown of our trip to Scotland, what we did, kind of our itinerary, where and who we booked through for different things, favorite travel items and travel tips. And then we're going to go into some
worst travel stories,
which is going to be fun. So let's see, in my notes, I'm starting with my favorite travel items. But do we want to start with the trip first and go through the itinerary?
Let's start with recapping the trip.
Okay, let's recap the trip. Okay, do you want to start? Do you want to go with that? Okay.
So, Hannah had this notification on her phone. This is kind of how the Scotland trip even happened. Background. So she had this like Google Flights notification on her phone, which notifies her of cheap flights. Like, you can get them for a really good price. And I was at work one day at the register, and Hannah texts me, and she's like, so I just got this notification for a 10-day trip in Scotland. Tickets are this amount. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, like, I want to go. I have nothing holding me down. Let's do it. And so April 24th, we left for Scotland, and we stayed there until May 3rd. And we saw so much.
We did. We saw so much. So, yeah, if you are like wanting to go somewhere and you're not sure like when you're going to go, where, you know, what you want to do, I just set a Google flight alert on my phone. It's super easy. You go on to Google Flights, you type in your departing airport and your arriving airport, and then you just check you scroll down a little bit and you check a box that says like, email me, like notify me about all dates to this like location, or a certain amount of dates if you know exactly like when you would want to go. And then it will just send you emails about different flight like trends. So it emailed me and said like flights were like $700, which is pretty cheap if you're flying internationally. And so yeah, we just got on, we bought them. On the way there we had a layover in New York, and then we flew to Edinburgh. And then on the way home, we had a layover in Amsterdam, and then flew from Amsterdam back to Salt Lake City. The hotel that we checked into in Edinburgh and stayed at was called the Premier Inn, and it was on Princes Street. It was fairly cheap, and it was right in the city center, which made it super easy to get to everything, which I loved. Like, we literally stepped off the tram from the airport and like were able to get right to our hotel. Like, it was like a 5-minute walk. It was like a 10-minute walk from the big train station. Really, really close to everything. So if you're looking to go to Edinburgh, to Scotland, this is kind of everything we did. We left Monday, April 24th, but we didn't land in Scotland until the morning of Tuesday, April 25th. And we were dead tired.
We were so jet lagged.
Yeah, that jet lag, like literally, like bitch slapped us.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. Like,
we missed one of our tours, which was going to be like a walk around of Edinburgh, and we're like, I don't think we can go.
we like fell asleep for a couple hours, and then like I had set an alarm so we wake up for this walking tour that we had in the afternoon, and we both like looked at each other and I was like, I do not care if we miss this tour. It was like $40 for the both of us. Like, I am so tired. There's no way I can get up and walk around.
Yeah.
So we fell asleep for a little bit longer, then we went and got some food, and then the next day,
Well, we also walked around that
We
evening
did,
when
we
we
did.
kind of woke up and were less tired. We did kind of scour the city a little bit.
yeah, we did do that.
But yeah, our like trip didn't really officially begin until the next day.
Till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wednesday, I think Claire's the one that booked that one,
Yeah,
right?
it was the Loch Ness Glencoe tour, and we booked that through Get Your Guide. I think we booked
We
most
booked
of
quite
them.
a few through getyourguide.com.
The only one we didn't book was the Isle of Skye tour, and I booked that through like wowscotlandtours.com or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But Get Your Guide was really good. It comes with an app. You just show them your tickets and they're like, cool, like
Super
get on the
easy.
bus, bitch. Like so
So we get up Wednesday morning, we walk to our tour bus, the meeting spot, and we get in line, and then like all these different like guys that work for the tour company are kind of like helping everybody get checked in, because there was like 3 different tour buses. Like, this was a huge group, and of course Claire and I are just like, oh my gosh, like that guy's cute. And then you guys, oh my gosh,
literally descended from the Scottish sky this beautiful man.
beautiful man.
He looked like he kind of gave Channing Tatum vibes.
But he was Scottish.
But he was Scottish.
Okay, just picture this, guys. Picture this, guys. Claire and I are in line to get on a tour bus, all right? They've got a couple of guys helping us out. Down from this bus comes this guy. I don't know if we should say his, like, actual name.
Let's give him a classic Scottish name.
Okay, who do we know that's Scottish?
Let's just say
Hamish.
Angus. Let's just say Angus.
Angus. Okay, Angus. So
Hamish
down...
is coming up later. He's
Oh,
the
that's
cow that
true.
we saw.
We don't want to
We don't want to mix up.
confuse
He's not a
people.
cow. He was so
very much a man.
Yeah.
So down the steps of this tour bus comes the most beautiful man either of us had ever seen, Angus, okay? Angus has dark black hair, perfectly coiffed, striking blue eyes, striking. He's wearing a kilt. He's like straight out of Scotland. He is so Scottish. He literally grew up in a town like 5 minutes away from Edinburgh. And we're like, holy crap, like, who is this man? And like, we get up to the front of the line, and they had assigned us a number. They asked us our number, and I like was honestly kind of nervous, like to like heart flutters. Whoa, heart flutters. I was like, oh my gosh, we're like number 32.
I know.
And then they both looked at us, like
They
the
both
two
looked
guys,
at us, right?
and then they were like, morning, and we're like,
and we were like, it was like the first Scottish accent we'd heard.
yeah.
So we were like kind
and
of
they were both
fangirling.
pretty cute. The guy
They
that was
were.
next to him was really cute too. Not as cute as Angus.
Angus was definitely the hottest tour guide, and we were lucky that we got him.
No, Angus was
Yeah.
daddy.
He was. He had great music. I think.
Yeah, and he was super fit too. Like,
And also, like, later in the day when we were, like, driving back from, like, our location, he was, like, dropping us back in Edinburgh. He played Dry the River. And I was like, this is my dream man. He
He
is
is
playing Dry the River.
so Claire and I are just like getting incognito
Yeah.
videos of this man like the entire day. The entire day. I'll post one of them on our Instagram because I was like dying.
We're allowed to do that. Do we need Angus's consent for that?
No,
Okay.
no, Angus is fine. But we were like on the bus. We're like, how old do you think this guy is? And we're like, oh, he's probably like 30. Like,
Yeah.
really like
Looked so young.
looked so young, so fit, so manly, so man of my dreams. And then we were talking to him later, like we had kind of, I don't know, I can't even remember, like we were in line and he was just like, hey, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And then we were talking to him, and I can't remember how age came up, but he was like,
I think he asked us how old we are
yes,
first.
he was like, how old are you guys? And Claire was like, I'm 19, and I was like, I'm 24, and he goes, oh, only, and he's like, I'm 40. And we were like, what? He's
Yeah.
like, and he had like a 17-year-old son. He had a daughter. He had another kid. I think he said he had 3 kids. And we were just like shook. I was like, you're not 40. Not that 40 is old, but he did not look 40. He
No.
looked 30. Like,
Yeah.
maybe.
He definitely didn't look 40.
Yeah.
And then we were like, damn it, there goes our chance.
I turned to Claire when we got on the tour bus and I was like, I'm fully prepared to become a stepmom. Like, I'm fully prepared.
Well,
Like,
then the joke just kept on escalating, and I was like, well, now that we know he's 40, I'm like, maybe he can adopt us.
we're like Agnes.
Angus.
Agnes. He suddenly becomes a woman. Angus, listen, I know I'm not supposed to be attracted to my father, but you can adopt me and be my daddy. It's so bad, you guys.
Drive me around Scotland, Angus, please.
We were like giggling so hard. I was like, everybody probably thought we were so stupid, but oh my gosh, it was just like the best. And then like
he was like so fun too. Like
so fun.
He made it such a good experience. Took such good care of us.
Yes, he was like
10 out of 10 guy.
He really was. And honestly, we were really sad getting off the tour bus that day. We were like, wait, we're never gonna see this guy again.
Yeah, and like later on the trip, we'd be like, I miss. Okay, we'll bleep that out.
We literally just said his name. Crap. Oh no.
Is Angus a Scottish name?
I think Angus is, I think it's Irish, but I think it can be Scottish. Like, I think there's a lot of crossover between Ireland and Scotland.
Yeah.
Like how Gaelic is the Irish language and Gaelic is Scottish, but they originally started as the same language. Mm-hmm. So I think there are a lot of crossovers. Obviously, they're two very different countries and, you know, different histories and stuff, but I think there is quite a bit of crossover between the two.
Speaking of their history, it was so interesting. Like, there was just so many things I didn't know that happened in Scotland that we were able to learn. Like, it's also funny because I was watching Outlander while we were there. Yes. And so I was like, I was just fully submerged in the Scottish lore.
Jamie Fraser can get it. He can get it any time of day. He can get it morning, noon, night.
And the thing is,
I would literally do anything for him.
Well, the thing is, until I watched Outlander, I was like, what is everyone freaking out about Jamie Fraser? I don't get it. And then once I was watching the show and seeing him like run around the Highlands with his kilt, I was like,
and his red
damn,
hair.
I get it now. I really get it now.
I just really want to be Sassenach.
The fact that her name's Claire and my name is Claire really just, like, hearing him say Claire
would just like, that was really good.
Thank you.
Claire would just like close her eyes and be like,
I was like, he's saying my name.
Just like imagine that he's talking to you.
Yeah, I don't know. Why are kilts so sexy?
They're so sexy.
Men?
They're so sexy.
Especially Angus. His legs look so... Okay, I'm sorry. We need to stop talking about him and actually talk about what we did.
He was so sexy, though. Like, he was so sexy. He had no right. He had no right being that sexy. Like, I was shook. I was really shook.
Same.
But anyway, so that day, though, the Angus tour, the best day of our lives...
So first he dropped us off at this like little kind of pull-off field with these Highland cows, and it was the first time either of us
seen Highland cows.
And so there was about 3. One was Hamish, the girl was Peaches, and the third was Baxter. And they were so cute. I love cows. And the funny thing is that because of their accent, they call them like coos. So it was like Harry coos.
Yeah, they call them Harry coos. Mm-hmm. But when they say it the Scottish, Harry coos.
Yeah. So we got to pet them, and I cannot even describe how beautiful like just the rolling fields are.
Yeah. Like, and then you just have these houses that you're like, that's been there since 1800.
And this is their neighborhood.
And
like, this is their backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was like a field full of sheep. And because we went in the spring, we found out that the sheep, which are free roaming around Scotland because they have no predators in Scotland anymore. Their bears and wolves like all became extinct there. And so the sheep all free roam, but you just see sheep everywhere. But the sheep have usually a set of twins. They have their lambs in the spring, and then they have a set of lambs in the fall. So they had like fresh baby lambs, like everywhere we saw.
They were so small.
They were so small.
I cannot believe how tiny they were.
The cutest things you've ever seen. Like, I could not handle how freaking cute they were. Like, it was incredible. Like... Oh, they were so cute. So we stopped there first, saw them, and then did we head over to Loch Ness?
I think we did, and honestly, Loch Ness was kind of underwhelming for the both of us.
I mean, it was beautiful.
It was. I mean, I wouldn't say anything there was ugly because it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, but I definitely think like Loch Ness is prettier and more scenic in pictures, whereas it's just kind of a big giant lake in real life. Like that's kind of all it is. But
it's the largest body of fresh water in the UK.
Yeah, they said
it's 23 miles
like
long.
Deeper than the North Sea is what they said. Deeper than the North Sea. That's insane.
And they also said, everybody says, oh, did you see the Loch Ness Monster? No, we did not see Nessie. But they said that like scientists have said like that it is deep enough and like the ecosystem in Loch Ness is like large enough and diverse enough that it could support a predator of that size.
And eels. There's a lot of eels. So there's like, who knows? Maybe there was like a genetic like jackpot this eel hit and it made it so giant. So people were just seeing a giant eel. And I was like, that seems pretty plausible to me.
Well, because they said some of the eels still in Loch Ness can grow up to be like 10 feet long.
Holy shit.
Which is like crazy.
That's insane.
So I believe, I don't know if Nessie's there now, but I believe at one point there probably was something in there.
Yeah.
Like that was the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Right on the edge of Loch Ness on, I don't know which end it is, if it's like the north, south end, whatever, is Urquhart. Sunset Urquhart Castle. But basically it's a full like castle ruin because it had been like destroyed in different battles so many times and pilfered. And anyway, so we got to kind of explore the ruins of that, and then we got to take a ferry across Loch Ness, which was cool. I fell asleep actually because we'd had 5 hours of sleep in the last 48 hours, so I literally knocked out on the boat. I was like, I cannot stay awake any longer. Then we kind of just went, and where else did we go after that?
I think we just stopped at like kind of another pull-off point where there was other Highland cows. And we pet them, and then we went back home. Yeah. And that was our first day.
Yep, that was super. It was a really good intro. Angus was a great tour guide. He told great stories, had great music. It was just a fun day. We stopped a lot, kind of like along like different roads and took pictures of things in the Highlands and whatnot.
Highlands are just so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's like, I think like both of us agreed that
that's the best part.
That was kind of the best part, is just like looking out the window and seeing like rows of trees, like how green everything was, like
all the different locks that you pass by.
So beautiful.
I would have been happy as a clam to literally just like rent a car or like stay in the bus and just like drive the entire trip. I think like it was that amazing. And then Thursday, hit my mic. Thursday we got up and we packed up from Edinburgh, and then we went to Waverley train station, hopped on a train and went to Inverness, which they call the capital city of the Highlands. So the reason we went to Inverness is because there were a couple of different day tours that did not depart out of Edinburgh. So we had to go to Inverness because they only departed out of Inverness. So we were like, that's fine. We'll take the train, which was about 3.5 hours, a 3.5-hour train ride from Edinburgh to Inverness, which honestly, it was
one
like
of our favorite parts.
The most beautiful thing ever. Like the train ride through like Scotland, through the Highlands, like just looking out the window and being like, oh my gosh, like people live here. Like, and I don't know, I got a little emoji on the train ride like a couple times, and I was like, wow, like this is so beautiful. Like, and we're here and we're doing it. Yeah. So we did that, and then we got to Inverness, and we honestly just like kind of walked around a little bit, got some food,
watched more Outlander,
and went to bed. Like we were tired.
Yeah. We ate at this place called Scotch and Rye, and I thought it was really good. I got a really yummy quesadilla. So that place was
Scotch and Rye is good in Inverness. And we'll give some more of our recommendations. We went to a coffee shop a lot in Edinburgh called The Milkman, which had really good pastries. They had chai, they had hot chocolate, they had matcha, they had, Americanos, whatever you want. But that was a really good place. And that was up in like Old Town near the Royal Mile. So yeah, Thursday, that's what we did. Then Friday, we got up and we went to
the Isle of Skye.
The Isle of Skye.
That was really cool because I think that was like even more highlands and stuff, and it was more rocky because you have to take a bridge to Isle of Skye.
Yes, because it's like an island.
A separate island, right.
It's very coastal.
We stopped for lunch in a town called Portree, and it was so pretty and cute. It had really good lunch spots. There's like a little kind of beach area where you can see like boats in the distance distance and ferry.
Kind of like on the dock, like kind of dock side a little bit. Yeah.
And then like there's like some buildings, they're all different colors, and there's like this giant rusty boat in the shallow part of the water. It was just really scenic, really and cool. Cute coastal town.
Yes.
We really liked it there. We were like, maybe if we ever go back to Scotland, we should spend come and more time.
Portree. Yeah. That was really cool. And then we went to...
Oh, we saw the Old Man of Storr. Yes. Which is like this rock. We saw
huge
it from
rock
a distance.
Formation. Anyway, yeah. And then we saw some more Highland cows that day. Like a ton.
Yeah.
And ones that were like literally a day old.
Baby cows.
Yeah. Our tour guide that day was Welsh. I don't think I should say his name. His name was... Albert.
Yes.
And honestly, he kept roasting, like he kept bagging on Americans. I was like, haha, I can laugh at myself. I'm like, yeah, we can all laugh at ourselves. But I was like, listen, brother, like we need to stop because the Scottish people aren't bagging on us,
and
but
homie,
the Brits are bagging.
You're Welsh and you're wearing a kilt. Okay?
Yeah, I was like, interesting. You're a fake.
You are not as good as Angus.
Yeah, Angus rules. Angus slays. Angus is the king of my heart. But you, Albert, you keep roasting me like that, and you're about to get a new thing coming, baby.
I'm going to drive this tour bus, Albert. I'm going to drive us off a cliff.
Yes. And that tour was through the Wow Scotland tours. I wasn't Get Your Guide, but Albert did do a good job.
He overall. Was nice.
He stopped a little too much for my liking. It was like he stopped on like random things that I was like, we don't need to stop and get out and take more pictures here. Like we're good. We're good, Albert.
Yeah.
Then Albert took us to the fairy pools.
Yes.
Which is kind of like a hike. You hike up to it, and it's just different like waterfalls into like little like pools that are like carved out like crater rock things in the earth.
I really liked that, but I think again it was a little bit underwhelming. I think the pictures make it seem a lot more beautiful than it actually is.
It honestly was cooler like from far away.
Yeah. Like I thought, I mean, because we're kind of out there, it's like you're away from like cities and everything, so it is very rural and more rocky. There wasn't as many trees there. It was definitely more kind of a rocky terrain.
Which I think kind of goes with like the coastal, like the coastline, you know?
Yeah, lots of cliffs, but still very beautiful. But yeah, I just loved the Highlands more. Loved the Highlands, I think that was probably my favorite.
Yes.
But the next day, we went to Glenfinnan, and we saw the Jacobite steam train, which is used in the Harry Potter films when Harry's going to Hogwarts
Express. So that train that you see in Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Express, is a real train called the Jacobite steam train.
It's the only train that I think in Scotland that still runs on like coal. Like people, they have people like putting coal in the thing.
Yes.
And,
So our tour guide and his name was, we'll call him
Jared.
We'll call him Jared. He was also English. He was half English, half Scottish, but he was raised in England, so he had an English accent. He was nice. He also stopped a little too much. I was like, we don't need to be doing this, Jared.
Yes.
Jared, we don't need to stop every 10 minutes to take a picture of another tree. We're good. But he was nice. He dropped us off in Fort William, which used like the British Army in the 1700s had like a fort there, a garrison where they could be like in the Highlands and patrolling like through the Highlands and whatnot. But so Fort William now is a town, and it's kind of like if you really are somebody who likes to get outside and do outdoor activities, they said that's like the best place to stay because it's on one of the locks. I think it's on like one end of Loch Ness almost. Anyway, but
we took the train from there to Mallaig, the fishing village.
Yeah, the little fishing village, and so we got on the Jacobite steam train in Fort William and then went to Mallaig. And it was just so cool, like so surreal. Yeah. The fog and like the steam coming off the train outside the window was just like so aesthetic.
It was so cool.
We sat next to a couple from Florida on the train, and like bless their hearts, they were so nice, like the nicest.
But they the woman that I was sitting by, which was his wife, she kept showing me pictures on her phone, and I was like, homie, to the left of me, I've got the most beautiful view I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Why would I look at pictures of your phone when I could literally turn my head?
They were like really into Disney, like full on Disney adults. They were like, look at my Disney table set up in my house. And we are like, That's great, Minnie Mouse. I'm trying to look out the window. Like,
For
which
real.
again, I feel so rude. I'm like, I'm such a brat. But I was
No,
like,
they were nice.
they were super nice.
They paid for our hot chocolate.
They did.
Which
That
they
was really
serve
nice.
on the train, which is very cute.
Yeah, they come by with the trolley. Anything from the trolley days.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they have like little souvenirs that you can buy
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But yeah, that couple was super nice. I just wanted them to stop talking. to
Yeah.
me.
I was just like, okay, done. Let's have some peace
Here's
and
the
quiet.
thing. Here's like what you have to do, like in polite society. All right, like you have to have. There has to be a level of self-awareness, and then also a level of being more polite than you actually are as a human. Okay, so you make conversation, but then there has to be a cutoff point where you're like, okay, we're done talking.
When I turn my head away from you, that's your cue
That's
to,
the signal.
to shut up.
That's the signal. You don't then pull out another video of your dog
Exactly.
licking its butt and showing to me like I'm good. Like heart dogs. I heart dog, but like
Yeah.
But like yeah, I'm like more people need to be taught this. And like
Yeah.
we need etiquette in schools.
There's,
we need
there's
etiquette.
social cues.
There
You
are
gotta learn
social
'em.
cues, and so many people don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was great. And then we got off the train in Malaysia, we had lunch, and then we got back on our tour bus. So our tour guide met us, and then he took us over to
The Glenfinnan Viaduct.
the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which is the really famous bridge that you also see the Hogwarts Express crossing over in the Harry Potter movies. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you know what we're talking about. And that also rests right next to Loch Shiel, which is the loch that they film a lot of the Black Lake scenes in Harry Potter.
And when like Harry's riding Buckbeak over the Black Lake, that's Loch Shiel.
That's Loch Shiel. So
And
like
it's so
you do a
cool.
full 360 and you have like Loch Shiel behind you and then the Glenfinnan Viaduct right in front of you. And we got to see the Harry Potter train coming back from a lake crossing over
Yeah.
the bridge, which was cool to see it from like inside the train and then also
outside.
from outside the train.
Yes.
It's so funny when like it crossed over, everybody who was like waiting for it to cross and like see it like really became super quiet. Did you notice that? Like everybody kind of went silent.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone was like super present. It was just
Yes.
like we were just watching this train go by. It was so
It was so cool.
So cute.
Yes. And then that kind of was like it for the rest of the day. I think we stopped a few more times, which Claire and I were like, okay,
we're over it.
we're done. Like, take me home. We don't need to extend this trip 4 more hours, Jared.
Yeah. There's one thing too, if you're thinking about going, things close pretty early there.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Restaurants close pretty early, so unfortunately that night everything was booked up. It was like 7 p.m. and we couldn't get in to eat anywhere.
It was a Saturday night, so everybody was like out, and most of the restaurants are also bars there.
Yes.
The Scots like to drink, and we love them for it. But like,
Yes.
so like everybody like had booked like reservations, so we couldn't get in anywhere. We had to eat at our hotel, which was like okay. But anyway, yeah. So we
But
did
yes.
that, and then Sunday we got up and went. Oh, and then in Inverness, I forgot to say we stayed at the Penta Hotel in Inverness.
I really liked it.
It was nice. It wasn't the best hotel I'd ever stayed at, but it was clean and the Wi-Fi was great there.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi in Edinburgh was horrible.
Trash can.
Why was the Inverness known as like the capital of the Highlands?
Like rural in there. Like
why was the internet better there than in the big city?
he's the ghost of Jamie Fraser.
It probably was.
He was like, there you go.
he's like you'd get free Wi-Fi.
I was like, thank you so much. Yeah, no. The Wi-Fi, like our signal was really bad over there, which is to be expected if you're coming from a different country. But then like anytime we even connected to Wi-Fi, it was terrible. Except for at that hotel in Inverness, our Wi-Fi was awesome there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sunday we got up and then we got back on the train and went back to Edinburgh because we had another tour booked out of Edinburgh and that's also where we were flying out of. So we needed to go back. So we just took the train back on Sunday, which was great. And then we got something to eat and kind of chilled out. And then that night we went on a little bus tour around the city. It was called the Ghost Bus Tour, and it was super stupid, but it was funny. Like
Honestly, the bus itself was kind of cool. It was like it kind of looks like one of those double-decker buses from Harry Potter, but it was all spooked out.
yeah, they had it. It was like think like dinner theater-esque, like how they like designed it, where it was like they had like the red velvet curtains on like the windows and like a little like old-timey lamp on each like row of like bus seats. It was just kind of funny, but they took us to St. John's Kirkyard, which is like super old. Has been there for thousands of years.
Ton of graves there.
Ton of graves, which we wanted to kind of see anyway, so it was good.
That was cool.
Told us like a couple of ghost stories. It was just kind of silly, but something to do that night. Monday.
What's the restaurant that we ate at?
That night we ate at a restaurant on Victoria Street, which is in Old Town by the Royal Mile. It's called Maison Bleu.
Very good.
It's a French restaurant. It was very good.
Recommend it.
Claire and I both got the chicken coconut curry.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good. Their bread, the bread basket that they brought out was like amazing.
Very cute and aesthetic in there as well.
Truffle fries, truffle parmesan fries, which were great. Yes, very cute, very aesthetic. We got in quick. We did make a reservation. That's a tip for Scotland.
Make a reservation.
Make a reservation for everywhere you go, because then you're sure to get in. And yeah, so
in the next couple of days we kind of
we went to Edinburgh Castle.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We were honestly pretty tired at that point. Like we had been going. Yeah,
we were kind of over the tours by that point, because as great as tours are, as far as like you don't have to worry about trying to get to these places you're trying to see. It's all very organized. It's planned out. You don't have to drive. There is a point where you're like, I want to control how long I stay at a certain stop.
Yes. Yeah. So we went to Edinburgh Castle, which was awesome. It's like, looking at it from below, it's like on the edge of like this huge, like sheer cliff face.
They call it basically what? Castle Rock.
Kind of. Castle Rock. The castle structure obviously has been built over time, but that fort, like there were huts there on the first AD. It's been there since first AD, which is just insane. Like it's like so old. So old. Yeah, walking through there was great. We weren't able to get a lot of pictures of things because a lot of things they were like
can't use your phones.
Yes. We got to see the crown jewels in there.
That was cool.
A
lot of little museum
the Great Hall,
things.
Little museums. Yeah, just honestly like incredible. Yeah, so we did that, and then I think we just kind of walked around and saw a couple more things that day.
Yeah, we ended our trip on kind of a slower pace.
We saw St. Giles that day, St. Giles Cathedral, which is right down the road from the castle on the Royal Mile, which is stunning. The cathedrals in the UK and Europe are just, like, if you've ever been there, you know, it's just, like, amazing. They are actual works of art. And then we kind of just got food and we really just chilled. Like we went to dinner at a place called the Boozy Cow, which was really good.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
That was a good place. Our waitress was super nice there. She was great.
She was a fan of Americans.
She was like,
she's like, you guys have such good TV.
You guys have such good TV. Yeah, it was so funny. Anyway, but yeah, we kind of chilled. And then Tuesday we went to St. Mary's Cathedral.
And Dean's Village.
So Dean's Village was kind of J.K. Rowling's inspiration for Godric's Hollow in the Harry Potter movies, where Harry Potter was like born and Voldemort killed his parents. So Dean's Village is kind of the inspiration for that. It's just like a really cute little suburb right off of Edinburgh. We went there. St. Mary's Cathedral was so beautiful.
We were the only ones there, and it was so quiet and just
it was
peaceful.
So weird. We were like so shocked that we literally walked in. We were the only ones that walked in the church because they have visiting hours, so we didn't just walk in when we weren't supposed to. But yeah, we're the only ones there, and I almost think because it's kind of out of the way of like central Edinburgh, where it's like very touristy. It's in like the West End and is like more like people just live and work there. So like I think because it's not in the middle of like tourist town, people don't just stumble upon it. So unless you know to like go there, you wouldn't. But yeah, that was beautiful. We went there to Dean's Village. I can't even remember where else we went.
I think we just kind of like picked up a couple pastries and then went back to the hotel. And just kind of but I liked that though. I liked kind of having a really jam-packed week in the beginning and then ending the trip kind of just slowing down and enjoying the city. Oh, we went to Scott Monument.
Oh, we did go to Scott Monument, which was cool. I can't remember where we went to dinner that night. I want to give good food recommendations.
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I thought we went to Boozy Cow that night, but maybe we didn't.
Oh, maybe we... yeah.
We did get crepes at that one.
Oh, yeah, the chocolate cafe, which was yummy.
Pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, the food, we didn't have great... And maybe we just didn't know. We didn't have great experience with food. It was kind of... It filled our needs, filled our bellies, but it wasn't great food.
Honestly, the Milkman Cafe was probably my favorite. Yeah. Oh, and Maison Bleu. Maison Bleu was probably the best.
Yeah, Maison Bleu was really good food. Yeah, no, so that was great. And then we got up Wednesday. We went and got coffee and
Then we went home.
well, Claire got coffee. I didn't, but I'm not a coffee drinker. But everything you got, you really liked though.
Yeah,
right?
I did. They had really good croissants, and I was like, damn.
Yeah,
this
they
is slapping.
had really great pastries again at the Milkman. And then we got on the tram, which again was so great. Our hotel in Edinburgh, we just went straight back to the Premier Inn in Edinburgh when we came back from Inverness. It was right next to the tram that takes you to the airport. So we literally walked like 5 minutes, got on the tram with our suitcases and went back to the airport. So I want to go into favorite travel items.
Okay.
So my favorite travel items that I brought are first my Brixley crossbody bag. Brixley is the brand. You can get crossbody bags from like Amazon or I know Thread wallets. They have a good crossbody, but I have mine from Brixley, which is a small Utah company. She's so cute. I actually know her husband. I went to high school with her husband, but she is adorable. They have packing cubes as well, and their packing cubes are another thing on my favorite travel items. But the Brixley crossbody has so many pockets. You can take it literally anywhere. I've worn it at amusement parks. It's great for airports. It's literally the perfect bag for traveling. It stays close to your body, so it's safer for like, pickpockets and stuff. And it holds so much. Like, it holds all your credit cards. I have like hand sanitizer, mascara, a little thing of perfume, lip gloss, chapstick. I can put my phone and it holds so much, and it's such a compact bag, and I love it.
Yeah, we didn't really need to bring backpack. You can if you could if you wanted
we
to,
really
but we didn't need to bring like, big backpacks around.
Yes. And then my packing cubes, also from Brixley. They're so cute. I have the pattern, I think it's called Daisy. It's green and has like little white daisies on the top, but it keeps everything in your suitcase so much more organized. If like you can fit so much more stuff, I feel like, in your suitcases that way. If your bag opens like by accident in the airport, or when you open your bag, everything doesn't spill out on the ground.
At me.
There's
and all the hotels we would check into.
Yeah, you need packing cubes. They're the best thing ever. They also have, mine comes with like a little laundry bag for your dirty clothes. When I like, at the end of the day, I put my like dirty clothes in the laundry bag. And then so your clean clothes and your dirty clothes are separated, and it makes it so much easier to do laundry when you get home. My third favorite travel item is my Kindle Paperwhite. It stays charged for literally forever. I think I charged it once like a month ago, and I'm still at like 50%. Like,
damn,
it stays charged forever. It's lit so you can read in the dark, but it's not with a blue light. It's like a very it looks literally like a piece of paper. Like that's how like the lighting looks on your Paperwhite. So I love my Kindle Paperwhite. I literally read, I think, the entire flight over to Scotland. Do you have your favorite travel items? Anything
I don't
that you
really
can think of?
I don't really have anything specific. I brought my AirPods. I had shows downloaded on my iPad, which made this trip really nice because I just watched TV the whole time.
Yeah, but not like specific items that you can think of.
No specific items. I'm very simple when it comes to traveling. I just like throw shit in my suitcase and my carry-on, and I'm good to go. But
yeah,
my favorite thing that I did think to bring, it was my film camera.
Yeah,
I loved having my film camera because it just is so cool when you get those photos back and you can get physical copies. I did get them all of them back yesterday, and it was just so cool.
They're so awesome.
It's like you just have a physical like memory of your trip. And I also use my iPhone, of course, but it's nice to have some film photos, and you can even just get disposable cameras too, and it's just cool to have those.
Totally.
That was my favorite thing probably I brought.
I also have some travel tips that I feel like have helped me a lot, or that I wish I'd done. So my first one is always bring your own blanket. I bought a travel blanket from Amazon that I thought I was going to use more on the plane, but I didn't really. But I used it a ton when we were in the hotel, which was nice because Claire and I shared a bed. And, when you share a bed with somebody, it's really hard for everybody to stay warm and not be like one person's a blanket hogger, whatever, or both of you are.
I'm the blanket hogger.
Claire's the blanket hogger, and she does this thing where she like kind of spins and like wraps her entire body in the blanket. So I'd like wake up halfway through the night, and I'd have like literally half of my body was covered, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so warm. So having my own blanket was really nice. I bought a travel blanket from Amazon. It was really lightweight, compact, which was nice. Anyway, my next travel tip is bringing 2 pairs of headphones. I brought my big like headphone Beats that go like over your head, And then I brought my like little earbuds. I think they're literally just like a knockoff brand from Amazon, but they've lasted me forever. The reason I do this is like one might die, or like my ears start to hurt with one pair, and so I like switch. Next thing, compression socks. I wish I had brought some compression socks, because if you're like me and your feet swell, like my feet swell when I travel, whether it's on a plane or like driving in the car, my feet get really swollen. So I wish I'd had some compression socks to kind of help them from not swelling as much. Next is always have ibuprofen or Tylenol or whatever with you. I get motion sick very easily.
Yeah, you got motion sick a lot.
I got motion sick a lot being on the buses, and my motion sick isn't like pukey. I get nauseous, and then it turns into like terrible migraines where like I would feel like somebody was taking a drill in between my eyes. So having like my little ibuprofen in my bag literally saved my life. Like being able to pop a couple of those. And if I hadn't had those, I think it would have ruined like a couple of the tours like the entire day, because I felt so sick. And then as soon as those kicked in, I was fine. So always have that with you. Also, book as much as you can ahead of time so that you can plan your days and make sure to get to do what you want to do. Claire and I had our entire itinerary written out like a couple of weeks before we went. Having everything, basically everything pre-planned and pre-booked made our trip like stress-free, and we got to see everything we wanted to. Yeah.
And you'd be surprised by how fast those tours book up.
They book
so
up
you gotta
so
book
fast.
up in advance.
Yes. We almost didn't get to ride the Jacobite steam train because it was so booked up.
Hard to get a spot.
Yeah. Yes. Next, download as much as you can prior to leaving, especially out of country, because you don't know what your signal could be like. We had no clue what the Wi-Fi was going to be like. So download as much as you can when you can. And then my next one is take as much public transportation as possible. We saved so much money. We never had to rent a car, never had to rent an Uber or a taxi. We walked everywhere, or we took the train and tram, or we were on the bus on our bus tours, but it was like so cheap to get on the train and the tram, like $5 to $7 a person. And then all the tours I booked were, and most of them that Claire booked were through getyourguide.com. Claire also booked one through Wow Tours or Wow Scotland Tours. Again, the hotel we stayed in Edinburgh was Premier Inn on Princes Street. Stayed at Penta Hotel in Inverness. Yeah, so both of those were fairly inexpensive. They were clean, quiet, and close to everything in both places. So yeah, I think that's kind of covers the entire trip. But it was awesome. Guys, go out of the country. Go travel.
It really does give you, like, as cliche as it sounds, it really does give you like a bigger perspective. And even though we were in a country that spoke English, it was a little bit of a culture shock. You're like, wow, like to just see how different things are outside of your own little bubble, I think is actually a great thing.
I think so too. It also helped me to like kind of appreciate, again, as cliche and corny as it sounds, appreciate my own life too, because I was like, yeah, these people live in the most beautiful place I could think of, but like they're all just people living their lives, and some of them might look at pictures of where we live in Utah and be like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky you get to live there, like look how beautiful it is, you know? Where it's like, I think we all think everybody's doing better than we are, like everybody's more like lucky than we are, and I'm like, we're all just living, working humans doing our best and living in the place that we live, you know? So that was kind of cool. And again, a total perspective opener, especially coming from Utah, where I feel like there is a really specific culture, especially in Utah County, like getting married young, or like you have to have your first house by the time you're 23, and like you need to have your entire career figured out by the time you're 18, and it's like, I don't know, you know?
Basically, you're never gonna regret going in on a great trip like that.
Yeah, totally.
It's scary going out of country for the first time, and it's unpredictable, and it can be kind of expensive for some people.
Yeah.
But I'm never gonna look back and be like, damn it,
wish I hadn't spent that money.
wish I hadn't gone to Scotland.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
And also, one thing I wanted to add too is like about the people there. Really down to earth,
so
chill people, very nice. The Scottish people are very nice, just kind of ordinary working people.
Yeah, that's what I loved. It was just like very salt of the earth people. They were all just really, really nice, really helpful, kind, good people. Okay, so we're gonna get into really quickly worst travel stories. I can start with my first one. We
Okay.
can kind of bounce back and forth. Okay,
Okay.
so the first one I have, trigger warning for this one. If you are somebody who is afraid of airplanes, this does talk about airplane turbulence. So if you are somebody that you don't want to hear that, skip ahead. Okay, this is from the website called The Happiness Function, and the title of the story was "Take Turbulence Seriously: True Story from a Flight Attendant." One of my worst travel stories was when I was working as a flight attendant. We hit unexpected turbulence and the airplane dropped. I was in the galley with my food cart away, and the sudden drop lifted me up in the air, making my head hit the ceiling. I was trying to reach for my food cart as it was about to hurl down the aisle and hit passengers, but luckily it toppled over next to me. It felt like I was on a roller coaster. The whole cabin was visibly shaken, with many passengers also sustaining head injuries as they didn't have their seatbelts on. We then proceeded to get hit several times by lightning. It was one of the only flights where I thought we could possibly die, but of course we had to keep a brave face on for the passengers who were understandably looking to us for reassurance. That was one of my first flights, and it really taught me that life is so fragile, so short, and tomorrow is not guaranteed. Flying makes you feel invincible, but that day certainly taught me firsthand why we should always have our seatbelts on.
Damn.
I cannot think of anything more terrifying. Also, okay, first, to have to be the one that keeps their shiz together in a scary situation, that's the worst. You don't even have the luxury of being able to cry.
The thing is, with turbulence, it's out of your control.
Yeah.
You're in the air. There's nothing you can do.
There's literally nothing you can do. Second, I don't have flight anxiety. I've never been so terrified to get on the flight. That's never been my thing. I know some people are very, very scared of getting on planes, or they just have a ton of flight anxiety. I have friends that have flight anxiety, but I don't feel that way. Never have. But I will say, every time I get on a plane, I do think this could be it. This could be the time, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think, well, if it is time, it's time. And most of the time, you guys, my entire family's with me. So if I were to go, I'd be I'd want it to be with all of you, you know? So
Very
that kind of
fast death, quick
yeah,
death.
that kind of comforts me, but mostly because I'm selfish and I have FOMO. So if I were the only one to die and you guys are just down here continuing to go on trips and watch movies and shows without me, I'd be super pissed. I'd be so mad. I'm are you kidding me? You're watching Vampire Diaries without me.
If I go, we're all going.
We're all going. I'd haunt you guys all the time if I died. I'd be hanging out.
I wouldn't like that, but
I'd hang out all the time.
just don't let me know you're here, I guess.
I'm just he clearly
you can-
so true.
I'm shut up.
Hannah, go away.
Hannah, no.
Hannah, leave.
No, please.
Okay.
I like this story. It's by My Leg Is Asleep. I like that username.
Is it a Reddit one?
It's a Reddit one.
Okay, perfect.
This one's funny because they also went to Scotland.
Oh,
so I thought it was on theme.
Perfect. There you go.
Okay, so it starts. My best friend and I always say it's not a vacation until someone has a breakdown in the train station.
That's facts.
Airports count too, she
Yes.
says. Or he. We took an amazing month-long trip to Scotland, but unfortunately, there were rail worker protests going on and our trains kept getting cancelled/delayed and we would have to take buses. I get ridiculously sick on buses. No matter how long or short the bus trip is, no matter the kind of bus, I will throw up.
Oh no.
Long story short, one day I ended up the most hungover I've ever been. I ended up throwing up in the train station in Aberdeen, waiting for our delayed train. The first time hit me like a ton of bricks all of a sudden, and I barely made it to the garbage can and threw up into it. I told my friend, and we told her to I told my friend and told her to call me when our train was ready. We had been promised that we were in fact going to get our train to Inverness. So there I am on the bathroom floor of the Aberdeen train station, throwing up and feeling very sorry for and mad at myself. Then my friend came in and very, very gently tells me that our train has been cancelled and we are about to have to make the 3-hour trip up to Inverness on a bus.
No.
I lost it. I went from sitting on the train station bathroom floor throwing up to sitting on the train station bathroom floor crying and throwing up.
Oh.
For a minute, I was completely convinced that there was no way I was going to survive that bus drive. But I did. I think we got me some crackers, ginger ale, and these mysterious mints that a cute Scottish boy told us would heal a hangover. As if that wasn't bad enough, over the next few days I started getting sicker and sicker. My throat was so sore and swollen that I could barely breathe, and yet again I was convinced that our trip was ruined. Another breakdown ensues, and we finally go to the nearest hospital because we had no idea how else to get me to a doctor. Thanks to the glory that is universal healthcare, a novelty to 2 Americans, they saw me, diagnosed me with strep throat, gave me medicine, and sent me on my merry way. They even gave my friend antibiotics to take when she inevitably got strep too. Thanks, Inverness A&E.
Oh, wow.
Our trip was never ruined, though. Everything always worked out.
Man, oh, that was like, yeah, we need to really work on our healthcare system. Like, I'm not going to get into that, but like, man, that sounds like lovely. They're just
They said that was all within an hour, too. Like, it was an hour.
Gosh.
Like, I missed that part.
There is nothing worse than being sick and not being at home. Like, when you are sick anywhere else but your own house, like, ooh, that is like, I can think of nothing worse.
Oh, I know.
I'm so sorry. I feel you on the motion sickness and getting sick on buses. Okay, this next one is my own worst travel story.
Okay.
So I went on a work trip to Florida about 5 years ago. Shout out to my friends Addie and Abby, who were also on this trip. A few things about this trip were kind of crazy. So first, Addie was in her first trimester of pregnancy with her first baby and would wake up every single morning puking her guts out. So first of all, I felt so bad for her, but that was the sound that Abby and I woke up to literally every morning was Addie puking her guts out.
Gosh.
Poor freaking thing. I felt so bad. Second, we stayed in an airport hotel and our balcony faced another balcony. Like, it was all indoors, so you walked out on the balcony and like your room was like facing another room, like across like the hall basically. So I walk out on this balcony directly across from us, and this guy and his girlfriend, wife, like baby mama, I don't know, whoever, mistress, had the curtains flung wide open on their balcony, and he is standing there fully nude. And even from our balcony, I like could see that he hadn't done any landscaping, if you know what I mean. Down there, I like yelped. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then both Addie and Abby come running out, and I just point and they start cackling. Okay, like they're laughing so hard. Then the guy looks our way and sees that we see him, and just like you see him like kind of like panic for a second where he like doesn't really know what to do, and then he just jumps behind like the curtain and like we're just like dying. So that happened. And then finally, our flight got like hella delayed on the way home. Like, I think we were sitting on the plane on the tarmac in Florida for like probably a couple hours. I can't remember, like 2 or 3 hours. So we didn't land in Salt Lake City till like 3 a.m. We land, we get this text from our boss that says, would you guys be willing to go in tomorrow at 8? And all of us were like, no chance. No freaking way. Like, she was like, did you guys land? And we're like, yeah. And she goes, would you guys be willing to go in tomorrow? We're
like, no.
No.
No,
babe. I'm not going in. Oh my gosh. Also, another travel story from our family. The time when we went to Florida as a family and Paul left his wallet in the dresser at our hotel in Florida and didn't realize until we made it all the way to the airport.
Wasn't his ID in there?
His ID was in there. So he literally hops right back into the Uber that just dropped us off at the terminal, goes back to the hotel, gets it, and made it back and through security with like 10 minutes to spare. That was insane. I was so stressed out.
Don't ever put things in the drawers of hotels because you might just forget.
Just triple check before you leave anywhere. Do you have another one?
I do have one. This can be the last one if we want, unless you have more.
I have two more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. This one is by Trickenzie, and they're Australian.
Okay.
So they said, a caravan trip to the north of Western Australia in the 70s was their worst travel story. They say, on the way we were headed through a cattle grid. For those that don't know, this is where the fence crosses the road and there is a metal grid in the road to stop cows. There was a dead bloated roo on the grid and a car coming the other way, so my father had to drive over the kangaroo, basically, which burst. We wound up the windows very fast, and at the next town all the dogs came running and had a great time eating chunks of dead, cooked, rotten roo off the car. We then drove over 180 miles of corrugated, unsealed road and spent the night in a caravan park. We had a fire in the caravan that night. When we got to our destination and hooked up the power, there was another electrical fault which threw my mother 30 feet.
Oh my gosh!
It was supposed to be a save the marriage holiday. I was about 15, and the entire month was hell on wheels.
Oh my gosh. Not the roo.
Not the dead, bloated roo.
Not the dead, bloated roo. Not the
The
roof.
fact that they drew over it because there was another car coming
Like
head
there's
on.
literally nothing they
They
could
had to
do.
drive over the
They
kangaroo,
just had to.
and the guts like got all over
Ew!
their car, and then the dogs just ate it up.
The dogs are like, scrumptious. They're like, oh my gosh.
They're like, bon appetit.
Bon appetit, my guy. Okay, and this next one is an Instagram submission that I asked on my Instagram. I'm not gonna say her name, but thank you. You know who you are. Anyway, so her phone was stolen in Venice, Italy, and she basically felt the thief like kind of like jiggle her bag, and so she knew that like, and she was like, my phone, and he was like right in front of, like kind of walking away from her, and
So she
like
felt him steal the phone.
yeah, she like calls out to him. She's like, hey, like you have my phone, and he was like, no, I don't. And then the thief stripped right in front of her to like prove his innocence. Like just started taking off his clothes, like, and like she was like, I shielded my eyes, like when he got, but like he just, yeah, he had passed it, like he had gotten it like to his friend before, like anyway. So, but yeah, so her phone was stolen in Venice, and then the thief stripped right in front of her to prove his innocence.
I almost wonder if him stripping was also a tactic to like divert her attention,
Yeah.
because he knew like that is our natural instinct as humans, is to cover our eyes when someone starts stripping.
For sure. Yes.
So yeah.
Okay, last one. This is from Reddit, and their user is JF Archer. He says, so like the prompt was like your worst travel story. And he said, taking a 12-hour bus ride in Serbia while the bus driver played a CD on repeat with Rihanna's Disturbia playing. So every time the chorus came around, all I could think of was Serbia instead of Disturbia. Honestly, like not a bad choice, like not a bad song to listen to on repeat, but like 12 hours, like
12 hours,
12 hours
no.
of Disturbia.
You must, like, he's adding like so many hours to her Spotify right now.
Oh my
like
God.
he is contributing. He's like the top like 5% of Rihanna's listeners.
Rihanna goes like triple platinum for a song that like she's like, what? She's like, how did this happen? I would just cry, like I'd just be sobbing to Disturbia.
Bum bum bee bum
No,
bum bum bee bum. What's wrong with me?
Literally. But like at least it's Bob. And
True.
like also maybe that was your chance to like choreograph a full dance routine to that song. Also nowadays, if you like put this situation on TikTok, like you could go viral. Like
True.
but this one was from like 10 years ago.
A lot of mine were from like 7 to 8 years ago as well.
Like 10 years ago, maybe you could have put it on Vine, but I don't know. Like, you're just miserable and have no content to show for it. Like,
Exactly.
Miserable and no content.
And that's why you bring earphones too.
That's true.
So that you can
always double earphoned.
shut
guys,
that off.
Double earphoned. All right. Well,
I think that's it.
I think that's it. I think we've about covered it. Oh, I also thought, I don't know if you like this idea, but I thought we could end every episode, or maybe just whenever we wanted to, with a So True fact of the day.
Oh,
so
yes.
true fact. So this one is about Scotland. So Scotland's national animal is a unicorn.
Oh, I forgot about
So
that.
true fact of the day. Scotland's
yeah.
national animal is a unicorn. So there you go.
And then what's also that lore or legend about the horses, the water horses? What are they
the
called?
kelpies?
Kelpies are cool. They lure you into the water, and they're kind of like...
Yeah, they appear as like white horses, and if you
Yeah.
look at them, they want you to are
Under
you're
their
basically
spell?
under their spell, and you go and ride on them, and then they take you into like the loch and drown you. Basically,
That's interesting.
that is like some
cool.
Scottish lore right there.
They also have 2 giant horse head statues that I think are
Yes.
like... I don't even
That
know.
kind of are like nodding to that, and
Yeah.
like kind of like as a tribute to like all the horses of Scotland, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. There's your
There
So
you go.
True fact of the day. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. If you want to follow us on Instagram, our Instagram is So True Pod on Instagram, and we will be releasing episodes every Tuesday.
Yes.
Tuesdays. So True Tuesdays. Keep that in mind. But thank you so much for listening, and
We hope you like this new podcast.
yeah, we're so excited. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye.